Fundamentals of Car Audio is it's where we take a definition and we have all kinds of fun with it. And with that, we are going to head over to the PowerPoint presentation, or in my case, because I'm an Apple user, the Keynote presentation. Let's get rid of that. Hold on. Wait. This is my first time, guys. This is my first time.
Yeah.
I should have known. Okay.
Woohoo!
Yep, hold on. Bear with me. Technical difficulty. There we go.
Oh.
All right. Laptop.
Not that one.
Not that one. We want to go to...
There you go.
There it is. Yay. Laptop. Today we're going to be talking about speaker wires, power wires, accessory wires, all those silly wires that come off the back of the radio. And yes, what you're looking at here is a representation of everything that is on or used in a radio harness now. It is not just the simple 8 speaker wires, 3 power wires, illumination, and an amplified antenna adapter. Those don't exist anymore. We're going to talk about this for the next couple minutes, so hold your questions while we cover this, and then we'll hop back on and answer some more questions for you. What are all the wires for on my radio? Cars are getting more complicated, and so are aftermarket radios. To adapt to them, they need to interface with more than just basic systems. This has added more wires to the power plug. You like the rainbow effect there?
Yeah.
That was to mimic all the different colors of wiring. We break down the wiring into a couple groups to make sense of it all. So basically what we're saying here is that there's a lot of wiring, and to help yourselves out, put them into smaller groups to wrap your head around it. First is speaker wires. Solid color is positive, black stripe is negative. White is the driver's front, gray is the passenger front, green is driver's rear, purple is passenger rear. There's 8 wires right off the bat. We've just tackled, we've made a mess of it all. And here we go. Main power wires. This is where it gets a little bit more fun. The 3 main power wires are yellow is constant 12 volts, red is accessory power, and black is ground. Now, a lot of people confuse accessory and ignition. There is a difference between the two. Accessory loses power while the key is cranking to start the car. Ignition keeps power through crank. Most radios are going to be hooked up to accessory power because they don't want to take that jolt while the car is starting, and or you don't want the power to keep the stereo on through start. You might not have it. So depending on your vehicle, that's why that is like that. Then we have the basic accessory wires. That is, orange is illumination, orange-white is dimmer sometimes. These are 2 of the wires that get kind of screwed up a lot depending on the harness manufacturer. And Alpine takes it to a whole nother level because Alpine uses orange-white as a reverse trigger, but they're the only ones that do go really far left like that. But in the factory harness, sometimes you'll see an orange wire, and that is actually illumination, and sometimes you'll see an orange-white wire, and that will be illumination. But the real definition of what they're supposed to do is orange-white is supposed to be dimmer. Radios can't use dimmer wires because they change voltage as you turn the intensity of your dash up and down, and they're not set up to do that. It's just a toggle on and a toggle off. You can't adjust the intensity from that switch. Most radios give you the ability to go into the radio and turn the dimmer up or down, but it has to be done that way and not through the actual wire. Blue, solid blue wire, is power or amplified antenna. Most cars nowadays have this wire back in the harness because they're using the amplified antenna, not the power antenna. I don't think I've seen a car with a power antenna in a long time. Have you? I mean, it's just all the old 90s stuff, some early, late 2000s.
Yeah.
Blue-white is amplifier turn-on. In some of the older harnesses, these 2 wires are interchangeable, meaning there'll be a blue wire on the harness or a blue-white wire on the harness, and it'll do both the amplified antenna or power antenna and the amplifier turn-on. If your harness has these and there's a wire on the other side when you're checking, make sure you hook them both up. Especially that blue wire, because your FM will suffer greatly if you don't. Navigation wires. This is something that the kit manufacturers have adopted and they use in the harnesses. They'll usually put a flag around it and say these are the navigation wires. Basically, they're just the wires that are typically created in the smart harness. And those are brown, which is phone mute. Very little use for this anymore, but you'll find it on a lot of the harnesses. This was a wire that was created to mute the amplifier. Back when cell phones used to integrate into a car, the phone would ring and it would mute the system so that you could talk on the phone. Like literally talk on the phone, not like hands-free and stuff like that. The wire has just kind of stuck around in a lot of the harnesses though because of it. Purple-white is reverse trigger. This is another one that gets kind of weird depending on the harness manufacturer. But purple-white is the factory color for reverse. Pink, VSS or vehicle speed sense. This is one of those wires that just keeps popping its ugly head up, and I wish it would just disappear. But the purpose for it was, when it first came out, it was so that we could use navigation systems in cars. They didn't track very well because the receiver or antennas weren't that good. They've gotten a lot better since then, and the need for it has slowly started to go away. Thanks to Apple, though, they kind of drug it back up because they were complaining about satellite reception, and they were like, hey man, we need a way to track better. That way people don't complain. It's not the phone's fault, it's your radio and your dash's fault. So they made the manufacturers bring back the VSS wire. Kenwood, of course, said, no, we'll just use a better GPS antenna and that'll fix the problem. That's why on some of the Kenwood models, you don't have to worry about connecting it. And this mainly has to do with the wireless version of it. When you do a wired version of Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, the phone is usually out. It's wireless where it's not going to be seen anywhere, and it's not using that onboard GPS to do it. It's using one built into the radio that it's attached to. Pioneer, when you hook up, if you don't hook up the VSS wire, they have done an update to get a better GPS antenna in there. However, they still have a warning that pops up every time you go to use it that says this, and it's just really annoying. But hopefully the next iteration of it, that'll go away. Light green is emergency brake. Depending on the manufacturer, this could get complicated. Some need on, off, on every time the car resets. Some it can easily be grounded, just like it was connected to an emergency brake. The nice thing is that the emergency brake wire is slowly but surely becoming a wire that is really not needed that much anymore, because a lot of these radios are coming with no DVD, CD player, and you're not watching movies on these and doing silly stuff like that. So the e-brake getting connected to an actual e-brake wire to where when you need to access those menus, you just simply press it in, is making more sense all the time. Yellow-black is foot brake. This is something that is left over from Alpine, however, has become popular again, especially in the Jeep market, because depending on the backup camera, some of these backup cameras now have third brake lights built into them, and the yellow-black wire is the wire that provides that feed to that if you're hooking it up. Yellow-blue is also e-brake. This is something that Alpine does because, hey, it's Alpine and we can be different. Navigation wires. These are the true navigation. Why did I read it twice? Oh, that's supposed to say steering wheel wires. My bad. Most cases, steering wheel wires are pretty straightforward. In this case, Kenwood and JVC use a blue-yellow wire that sometimes gets confused with remote turn-on and or power antenna. It is a light blue. It is not a dark blue like those two. This wire is because they don't have a aux jack style connector on the back of the radio. Another wire that is becoming popular in Fords is a pink-red wire. This is because certain Fords, because of their expensive system that they have, their sync system, in order for the phone buttons to work, you have to run over and tap into the sync module, and that is done using a pink-red wire. Last but not least is navigation wires, in the sense that these are wires that are data connections that connect into the car. You have CAN high, CAN low. They are brown, red, and brown, yellow. CAN high is red, CAN low is yellow. These are the wires that are going to create these navigation wires located here. They're not on the they're not in the harness. They need to be created through a smart module that talks to these wires in order to create that data. And that is the new wiring for your car.